Hello, welcome back to Mathematics with Shou Tucker. As you all know, the sewing life alchemist is dead. But we still have his equations. This new one is dog plus person plus alchemy equals talking Oh no, cut to commercial.
Welcome to Gate Crashers, a podcast dedicated to kicking open the door to your next favorite thing. Our mission, our creed, our code is this: to make all nerdy things more approachable and accessible to everyone. We want you to find a universe that you'll fall in love with. I'm Amanda Ramirez, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Jake McMahon, and I use he, him pronouns. Man, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm really excited about this one in particular. My favorite, whenever I talk about Fullmetal Alchemist, I'm always just like, first fandom, first fandom, first fandom. It was like the first thing Tiny Amanda was ever like, oh, is this what being like a fan of something is? Fair.
I've been fans of things since I was 3 years old, so I can't really say.
It's like a different level of fandom for me, because I love things and I love to watch things, but Fullmetal Alchemist was the first thing that I ever was like, I must have merch and I must have all of these things because it's that important to me.
See, I just had when I first saw Fullmetal Alchemist, the original one. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that a little more, but I just had terrible nightmares and everything turned into weird, there was what's the symbol they use? Well, why am I forgetting this? I wrote this all today.
The Ouroboros, or?
No. Transmutation circles.
Oh, the circles.
But then it fell apart into a big old chunk of Legos.
Makes sense.
I was in the second grade.
I came to Fullmetal Alchemist from the manga first, so it wasn't nearly as visually visceral the way things turned into cartoons is.
Yeah.
Sorry you experienced that.
I mean, at this point in time, I was already watching Yu Yu Hakusho, so I already saw some weird stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, so, all right. This is the back of the box blurb. Do you like anime? Do you like kick butt characters? Did I write that, or did you?
I wanted to put some kick butt characters.
All right. Do you like tragedy and trauma sprinkled in your action-adventure comedy shows? Well, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is the show for you. This mega-popular series, based on the best-selling manga, is hilarious, poignant, and heartfelt, and follows the tale of two brothers on a quest to right their wrongs and get their lives back to normal. Join Edward and Alphonse Elric as they search for the Philosopher's Stone.
Beer, 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 beer. Air horns.
Yep. That's called podcaster mode.
Hey.
All right. So I took a little bit of, used my little history background. History degree and made a little thing about alchemy.
Yeah, I was deeply impressed. I was like,
you shouldn't be. This was all taken from Wikipedia. Granted, I rewrote it, but I learned all of this from Wikipedia.
I learned most things from Wikipedia. So if there's anything
wrong, don't at me. I have a history degree. Leave me alone. All right, so alchemy has a long and rich history from around the world, with its major origins being from Greco-Roman Egypt, India, and China. The term alchemy is most recently derived from the French word of alchemy. I don't know how to speak old French.
I'm sorry,
I don't even know how to
France.
speak real French. Well, I just said real French. Like old French wasn't real French. Super Bowl Sunday, everybody. Super Bowl Sunday. You want that Tom Brady to win? You want that Tom Brady to lose? Let me know. By the time this comes out, we will. So, which itself comes from a combination of the Arabic al and the Greek chemia. I'm just going to guess and assume that I'm not butchering these, but I probably am butchering these.
Just sorry in advance. It's fine.
If you want to at me on my pronunciation, that's fine. My use of Wikipedia, maybe not. I don't know. I know a little bit better about that. The two primary philosophies of practice as we know them today are turning lead into gold and the quest for immortality. Both these philosophies can be traced back to two branches of alchemy. European alchemy was heavily focused on the scientific aspect of turning base metals into noble metals, the process called transmutation. This is where the idea of humans being able to turn lead and sometimes mercury into gold. I only learned today that people were saying mercury to gold for the Philosopher's Stone. And the idea of the creation... This led to the idea of the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, which is supposed to make this kind of transmutation possible. By contrast, Asian alchemy has more of its origins in religions, such as Chinese Taoism and Indian Dharmic faith. I think it's Dharmics because there's different ones. Yeah. So the main goal of that pursuit was immortality. The first emperor of China, for example, was so obsessed with it that he kept on drinking mercury thinking it would give him everlasting life. But it just killed him instead. But if you try to dig up his grave where the Terracotta Army... That's not what it's called, the Terracotta Army. I don't remember what it's called. This is what I went to college for, everybody. There's a lot.
Sometimes it all just gets mixed together, and then suddenly you're just like, I don't know, maybe that's right. Maybe I made it up.
I remember more about one single samurai who was a sleazeball than anything else. And I didn't even finish that autobiography I read that he wrote. But yeah, so if you try to dig up his grave, it's just filled with mercury. It's great. In India, it was believed that gold would grant immortality. I don't know where they got that from, but Buddhism and Hinduism also have a form of the Philosopher's Stone called the Cintamani Stone. I've heard of it before, and the Philosopher's Stone in this kind of seems like a blending of both of these stones, but the Cintamani is more magical and potential to grant wishes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so it's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like it's rooted in like everything for the most part, because there's several names for the Philosopher's Stone the same way there's like several names for like the perfect human to sort of just reference Fullmetal Alchemist itself and the way they go through that scientific process. Because then like you also have
I think they call that Father. Is that what his name was? I can't remember. Is he the perfect homunculus?
In the show, Father is trying to... Yes. I don't want to spoil it too much.
Yeah, we're not at that part of the episode, but
I don't want to spoil it.
I am. Here I am. I rewatched the first two episodes. It's been like 2 years since I watched the entirety of Brotherhood. And like even a lot longer than that since I watched the original anime.
It's been like 2 days for me. So Fullmetal Alchemist, in all of its iterations, of which there are many, explores classic themes like death and dying and mortality, grief and loss, family and coming of age, while also focusing on a lot of heavier topics, and making it accessible for all audiences, both big and small, like military occupation, government corruption, racism and xenophobia, disability, the intersection of science, magic, and religion, and sort of the exploration of morality and how it's an ever-flowing thing. And I think that's what makes it so great. And that's why this show and this manga have so many fans. And like fans of action adventure shows and history buffs like yourself, and also fans of alternative history really love this show. Fans of manga in general, and particularly shonen manga and anime. And in short, just weebs like us love this show.
All 9 of us.
All 9 of us. But it really doesn't stop there. I think
there's another guy, but he doesn't want to admit it.
Yes. I think it's just so indicative of how universal both the show and the manga is, that not only are they bestsellers and highly critically acclaimed shows in their native Japan, but here it's one of the most popular manga and one of the most popular anime, and just people I have spoken to about it who have never watched an anime in their lives are like, I know that one.
Yeah, I started seeing advertisements on the Instagrams. The collective of Instagram. It's called the Instagrams. So, you get the ads, and you get some anime clothing ads. There's just a bunch of Ed's jacket. I'm like, oh, that's the second most famous red anime jacket I can think of.
I also just think your Instagrams has been listening to you.
Probably.
That's a whole other matter.
Yeah. Everybody, let your Instagram tell you what to buy, and it'll make sure it knows, because it's watching you.
It's always watching.
Yeah, just like the State Alchemists.
Or the State Alchemists are always watching.
Especially the Führer Bradley, because you can always trust a man whose name is Führer, who's got the title of Führer.
You can always trust the Führer.
Yep. Because nobody's... If you're watching that,
nothing
you're watching
ever
that, and
bad
you're like,
has happened with a man named Führer.
Yeah, his title is that's his title. But they give him like an unassuming name of Bradley. Come on.
Well, actually, Bradley's just his last name. Remember, his first name is King.
That is true. Well, that's not even his real name.
That's not even his real first name.
No, his first name is Wrath. His real name's Wrath.
Oh, King of my universe. And you learned that really early in the series, so
yeah, no,
nobody yell at us.
Unless you're watching regular Fullmetal Alchemist, right? That doesn't come in.
Unless you're watching the original, because the original drags the first few books of the series out, because they were really trying to pack it all in, and then they just ended up outpacing the manga, and so.
I remember watching through Brotherhood and going, oh wait, this is more closely to the. Well, what? Wait, this is only episode 3. What? I don't remember getting to this until at least like 5 more episodes in.
Yeah, it's so fascinating the way the two series.
Oh wait, we skipped the discussion.
Diverged. Oh no. But let's just ignore everything I just said, and let's talk about where you can even find this mysterious anime that we didn't spoil for you.
Dan's gonna be angry. I'm in charge right now. Oh no, I'm in charge right now. Oh, that isn't good.
I'm sure there's a spot where we could be like, just cut it off.
Nope. Mike's gonna leave it all in. Every single thing.
Jake, where can we find it?
So Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is on multiple streaming platforms, including Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, HBO. Is it on HBO Max?
It is.
What? See, I just put Netflix because that's what I was like, I think that's the most universal one. Funimation and Crunchyroll, among others. You can also find the 2003 series, commonly referred to as the original series, on these platforms as well. Because why not?
You have to have it all in one convenient spot.
Yeah, all of it. Just like all the Naruto movies, but you can't watch all of Naruto on Netflix.
Why would they want it to be convenient?
I don't know. I wish. Translators, are you listening? Do you hear me? Dubbers, it's me, Jake. Can you guys put the rest of the dub of Naruto Shippuden on Hulu so I can finish watching it for the 7th time?
Hello, God, it's me, Jake.
Yep. I just really, I remember, because I don't want to go to one of those bad sites, those sites that you're not allowed to go to. I don't like going on those sites. I don't like to illegally watch my anime.
No, I don't illegally torrent anything. I obey the law.
Yeah. The manga Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is based on is available pretty much anywhere books are sold. Oh, she got rid of my plug. Oh, you got rid of the plug for Third Eye Comics.
I got rid of the plug because I went out to Third Eye Comics and it isn't there. That's
fine. People can just call.
Okay,
and
plug
then
it.
They'll tell. Nope. You got rid of the plug.
Third Eye Comics.
Oh, Dan's gonna be so upset. Even though that's all my thing, I'm the one who kept plugging it. Oh no. Oh, this isn't what I expected to happen at all. What a Super Bowl Sunday this has turned out to be. Oh no. The Fullmetal Alchemist canon, which includes several art books, 3 movies. Wait, the 3 movies are a part of the canon? I didn't know that. One fan game? That's not a part of the canon.
There's a fan.
Wait, no, that's not a part of the canon. And several official games, which I assume are just remakes of the series.
No, they're all new stories.
What?
Yes.
An anime game that's all new stories? Yes. Are you kidding me? That doesn't exist. There's only one of those, and that was a really bad Naruto game.
I can't remember all of the names because there's actually so many Fullmetal Alchemist video games.
So what you're saying is I'm not going to have to replay the Frieza saga 90 times.
No!
Like all of the Dragon Ball games.
Like the implication...
Because that's what all Dragon Ball games are. It's replaying not even like the GT stuff or the Super stuff. It's just Frieza, Cell, and Boo. That's all you need.
But what's so cool about the games is that like they're available on like several different platforms and they're all different. And it's sort of the implication that like in the bits that you don't see of Ed and Al's adventure, these are the shenanigans that they go on, because all of the games are based around this, like they're still looking for the Philosopher Stone. But this is the adventure that they go on in this game. So what you're telling me is, if I wanted to find a game where they just sit in a river and start panning for the Philosopher's Stone, like people pan for gold, I'll be able to find it? Can't guarantee that, but I don't see why not.
I mean, I assume all alchemists at some point just gave up looking for lead and just started panning for gold.
Just in the river, just like...
Yeah.
But yeah, several games. And the sequel movie to the original series, Conqueror of Shambhala, can be found on Amazon Prime and HBO Max. There's also an abridged live-action adaptation that can be found on Netflix.
Isn't that supposed to be bad?
I watched it. It's not bad. I was skeptical.
Does that also have a stage play like Naruto?
No.
Or Gundam 00?
No.
00 Gundam?
They take it pretty seriously.
That's sad. An anime hasn't made it until it has a stage play or even a musical. Yeah, guys, sorry. This episode's over.
It's over?
No stage play.
FMA
I can't recommend it.
Not big enough.
If you can't see this on Broadway, if I can't watch this on Broadway, why would I watch it?
Listen, I'm not saying that it's entirely impossible, but my research did not turn up a stage play. But yeah,
people are going to tune out now.
The live action adaptation, it's only available with subtitles, but it's actually pretty good. I was very skeptical about it because some key characters were missing, at least who I felt were key characters, but they did a good job taking the
dog?
Yes.
Is the dog missing?
Yes, the dog is missing.
Well, now don't go watch that. The dog's missing. The dog has a robot arm, guys. If you can't watch the dog with the robot arm, this is just it's just upsetting.
And then there's a spin-off film called The Sacred Star of Milos, which used to be available on Netflix. I think you can only get it from iTunes now.
Do people still get things from iTunes?
I don't know. I didn't watch it on iTunes. That's just the only place I could find that it exists.
Hey, everybody, at Gatecrashers on Twitter, if you still buy things from iTunes.
I don't even
Apple
have the app.
Music. Is that... It would just be in the App Store or just... I don't know. This rocking my world.
I've really I've shaken the foundation of your understanding.
wait, hold on. You wrote Game Boy DS.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. It's the Nintendo DS.
It's the Nintendo DS, isn't it? I knew that sounded wrong when I wrote it.
Honestly, I don't know why it wasn't just Game Boy DS.
It sounded wrong when I wrote it, but I could not fathom it being anything else.
Yeah, so tell them where the games are.
The games are available across many platforms, including PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Nintendo Wii, and the PSP.
Huh. So, we gotta take a little break, so if people want to watch the first two episodes like I did of Brotherhood, they can. All right. So, the introduction to the characters in the first episode of Brotherhood, I don't remember what it was like in Fullmetal Alchemist. Do they always go after the ice alchemist, the freezer?
They don't. Okay, so I started my rewatch of the full Brotherhood series a couple days ago. And it's the one I watch the most, so I have a very clear, okay, the Fullmetal Alchemist story starts with the Ice Alchemist. Cool. And then I started rereading the manga, and I was like, that is not where it starts. And then I rewatched the first two episodes of the original series, and I was like, that is not where it starts. So despite the fact that Brotherhood kind of is supposed to be the true adaptation of the manga, what I think it did so well with that first episode was, like you mentioned, the introduction of all of the characters without it feeling super expository or like you had no idea what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm. I always like that use of a hook. Just, I don't need to know your introduction, your origin story from the beginning. Just give me the good parts first. Make me want to know your origin story.
Yeah.
I thought this was a fun way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the way a lot of things should do it. I don't need to see Batman's parents shot in the beginning of the movie every time. Just peppering in his little asides throughout.
Yeah, just give us, a little bit here, a little bit there. This is their tragic backstory, but we're not going to give you all of it. We're only going to give you some of it, either because you have seen it 18 million times, or because it's not the most interesting part of the character, or it's because it's something that we're going to build off of.
I think the truth part was the biggest change that I was when I first watched Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, what's this big door? What?
Yeah. Oh man.
Is that not in the I assume that's not in the beginning of the manga.
it's not in the beginning in the sense that you see Ed facing the truth, but you do get some inkling of it. But you don't see the full, like, hello, we're in this limbo space with the truth and the doors and all of that. That gets elongated throughout the series.
Yeah, I would assume, because that's a big reveal that, hey, God showed me how to do everything without a special circle.
Mm-hmm. I think what's pretty interesting about the way they reveal it in the anime is that you see Ed meeting truth and you see Ed getting all of this knowledge, but you don't know what that means. You just know that it makes him different and it makes him powerful. And it's only throughout watching the series that you realize, oh, the reason Ed can transmute without a transmutation circle is because he met truth, because he met God, essentially. And God was like, all right, you want to be me so bad, here you go. But you have to pay dearly for that power.
Yeah, but I mean, that could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I always wonder, and this is one thing that they never really cover, like why Ed only lost his leg, but Al lost his entire body. Like, I never understood the reasoning behind why one lost so much more than the other.
Smaller. Younger.
Potentially. Like, there's a lot of potential reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm only questioning it right this moment. I've never really thought about it before because I was just like, let me just watch my show. It's nice. But yeah, the first two episodes of Brotherhood and the first two episodes of the original are so wildly different, if only because the original series really takes its time with certain storylines, and Brotherhood is like, you don't need this.
They really have a mom in the original.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's testament to like how they ended up changing the role of the homunculi. What I think is really cool in the original series versus Brotherhood is that the creator, Hiromu Arakawa, of the manga was involved heavily in the original series. But once it started outpacing the manga, she gave them sort of some guidelines, and then she was like, okay, have fun. And she has been quoted talking about how she thought it was so interesting the ways they took bits and pieces and both went really close to what she wanted or what she intended and still ended up creating this completely new world. And I think both of them have really cool merits.
Yeah, technically new world. Ed does go to a new world, doesn't he?
He does. He does end up going to a new world at the end of the original series. It's fascinating. Like, the ways in which the two of them are different. Like, if you ask me any day, I'm always going to say Brotherhood is my favorite, and Brotherhood is the one you need to watch, and Brotherhood. But the original series is so cool in its own right, and I don't think a lot of people realize how cool it is because they don't have the context of what the original story was supposed to be.
Yeah. I was too young to understand any of that when it was actually coming out.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, I'm going to go back to watching Naruto after this because I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was also reading Naruto, but that was... Oof.
Yeah, Fullmetal Alchemist, like we mentioned earlier, it really canvases so many topics that, like, are kind of difficult to understand outside of the context of a fictionalized story. But what's really fun is that you do get all of these different relationships, and you get to really navigate the difference between science and magic and faith through the character of Ed. Like, they don't make Ed just this one-dimensional science dude. He really goes through a journey of, like, realizing that even if the faith that he has isn't the same as the faith, say, the people in Lior, who are worshipping the sun god Leto have, that doesn't mean he doesn't have some sort of faith in something. And for him, it was always like, I believe in alchemy, I believe in science, yada, yada, yada. And eventually he comes to realize that he was worshipping a science as if it were God.
He also meets God.
Yes.
Which in Brotherhood makes it a little weird when he's just going on and on about science.
Yeah, but I think that's what makes it really cool, is that he doesn't
I didn't meet God. I didn't meet God, everybody. I just really like science.
I also don't even think
my chemistry set can bring my mother back to life. I bought this for $5 at the general store, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to bring her back to life. Me and my brother, oh no.
I also
Ball
just
of
think,
equivalent
like,
exchange.
he doesn't realize that he's met God, especially because he
No, God. The truth tells him he's God. He tells Ed, hey, I'm God.
Yeah, but why would a child believe that? Why would a child believe I have met God, and then God decided that I was to be punished because I wanted to... Like, there's so much nuance in the way Ed thinks about God versus science.
I don't think he likes God very much.
I don't think he likes God very much either, but at the very end, he ends up realizing that, like, God, or the truth, or the one, or the all, wasn't to blame for what he did and for what happened to him.
I don't think he ever does that. I don't think he ever says, oh, it was God's fault. It's like, oh, no, me and Ed fucked up. Let's try to get our bodies back.
I mean, yeah, he's very...
Oh, wait, me and Al. I said Ed
You said
twice.
me and Ed, yeah.
Me and Ed.
Ed and Ed. And Eddie.
Ed's fault.
No, Ed and Al
Wait, hold on. That question is, which of the three characters of Ed, Al, and Winry would be which Ed? From Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Yeah.
See, because...
Yeah,
Nobody
you don't know which one to
wants-
put. We both know who Ed is, but we don't know who Al and Winry would be.
Because I don't want to make Winry Ed. I would like to plead the fifth. I think it's disrespectful to Winry.
You heard it here, everybody. She actually thinks that Alphonse would be Double D.
Alphonse is the most level-headed out of all three of them.
It's true. But he's also the biggest.
He's also the biggest, but, like, only because he's literally bonded to a 7-foot suit of armor.
Yeah, where did their dad get that? Where
Bro,
like, hey,
who knows?
Hey, why does this immortal man have this giant set of armor that we all know he can't fit inside of?
Who even knows? Like, just the trajectory of Hohenheim and, like,
I want to know why Ed, even though he's been walking perfectly fine on the automail leg, which automail is like bionics, cybernetic enhancement stuff, but listeners, I'm not doing a good job of describing this. It's just like, it's all hooked up to your nerves and stuff, and you can control it through that.
Automail is, like, very heavily based in prototypes of prosthetics, and how, like, there are some prosthetics that you can put on that they do interact with the dead nerves, and you can use those nerve endings to move the prosthetic. Automail takes it that step further and literally fuses.
Yeah.
to the nerve endings.
It's a lot.
It's fascinating.
But yeah, why does Ed have to... Because I just want to talk about the way I have these notes a little bit, but why is it that in the end, Ed has to use a cane even though he's been walking just fine without it? Like, he was doing, like, flips and shit.
When does Ed use a cane?
Oh, wait, no, Al uses a cane.
Oh!
My bad.
Al uses a cane, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's because Al's body was in another world. His body, he was atrophied. I don't know why I'm thinking of it wrong. It's been 2 years since I watched the ending of this series. Oops. This is why you're the expert today.
I mean, this is why we're just really lucky that I decided I'm going to rewatch the entire series in 2 days.
That's also why I made these notes a little more general.
That's fair. But yeah, so that's your little crash course on what automail is. It's a very big thing in the show, period. I think what's really cool about it is that, first of all, like, one of the best automail mechanics is Winry. They're a childhood best friend. And she's such a feminine girl, and I love seeing her get dirty and just be.
She also got a dog.
She does have a dog, yes. We love Den. And you know, the ways that disability is showcased in the show, and how it's like, yeah, you can do this if you want, and if you don't want, you don't have to. And there's so many different ways in which not only have they overcome that, if that is something that you want, but also how it's just the betterment of their life. It's just so cool.
Yeah. There's so much in this series. A lot of world building. We've already talked about Freezer, but we should probably talk about why Freezer, a state alchemist, was like, I'm gonna kill the Fuhrer. And if you know anything about the Fuhrers, you know you should probably always kill them. Yeah, you should probably want to kill the Fuhrer. Yeah, let's talk about the Ishvalan Civil War and just Scar.
Oh, Scar, the GOAT, the best, the greatest. I love him. Scar. Okay, so Scar is an Ishvalan, and in this world of Amestris, which is the country that Ed and Al and pretty much the rest of the cast hail from, turned into a deeply militaristic country when Führer King Bradley came into power. And, you know, they spent years and years and years expanding their borders and taking over other countries. And at one point, there was the Amestrian Civil War against the country of Ishval. And, you know, it's not only was it part of a larger plan that had absolutely nothing to do with the Ishvalans themselves, but it was also such a terrible part of their history that was deeply rooted in racism and xenophobia, and just general intolerance, because the country of Ishval is a relatively poor country, and Amestris declared civil war on them. And you realize that it was part of the larger scheme to create what is called a crest of blood, so that, you know, the big bads can do their big bad thing.
Because, you know, if there's blood, and you want the blood,
yes,
you're either a vampire or the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. And Scar survived the Ishvalan Civil War, but to him, he didn't survive it because he was lucky. He survived it because he was given a divine purpose, and that purpose was to wipe out all of the state alchemists of Amestris.
So his idea was just to become a serial killer.
I think it's super interesting, though, the way he's like, I couldn't stop them when it was my entire countrymen, and so God has given me the directive to stop them with the power that I have now, because Scar was given the power of alchemy from his older brother, and Scar uses his alchemy to take out the state alchemists, because state alchemists were the ones who were called in to exterminate the Ishvalans.
Yeah.
And it's massively messed up.
Yeah. And all the state alchemists kind of going about their lives, and
Yeah, and
Scar doesn't actually get too far on that mission of killing them all.
He doesn't, but we all know that's because, what ends up happening is that they realize that there is a much bigger power at play, and Scar needed
the homunculi.
The homunculi, yes. And Scar needed to put his vengeance aside to save the rest of his countrymen who were still living in a Mestris. Because they weren't they weren't wiped out, but yeah, he realized that he needed to team up with the people who killed a lot of his countrymen, and then to make sure that whoever was left could stay alive. But yes, the homunculi.
So we got the one we've been talking about most, which is Wrath, and his bouncing baby boy, who is actually not his bouncing baby boy, Pride. You got Blush, you got Sloth, you got they're just the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, you have all 7 deadly sins. I was deeply obsessed with the concept when I was younger. I was just like, oh, I love this. But yeah, so you have all of the homunculi, who are products of alchemy, and they are also the quote-unquote children of the actual bad guy, Father.
Or as he will be known on this podcast as Pappy. I just wanted to say that. Pappy.
So we have Pappy.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember which one was greed and which one was envy, so I looked it up.
Oh, wait, we need to put a bookmark on Greed, because he's my favorite. But yeah, so we have Father, aka Pappy, who is actually a clone, kind of. He's kind of like the technical genetic brother of Ed and Al's dad, Hohenheim.
What a name. Hohenheim.
Von Hohenheim.
Von Hohenheim.
Such a long name for no reason. And their involvement goes back years and years and years and years and years.
Because Von Hohenheim's immortal.
Kind of.
Sorta.
For the most part. Science.
How do you save the world? Science!
You become immortal. Yeah, and so the homunculi are these the children of Father, and they basically just go around and they fuck shit up. And the reason that they're going around and they're fucking shit up is because Father wants to use the entire country of a Mestris to create a giant Philosopher Stone so that he can become more powerful than God.
Oof. Oof.
The end.
And then, okay, so we got all of them. We got, I'm just gonna say how they died because this is what this list tells me. No, I probably shouldn't say how they all die.
I mean, It depends. First of all, it depends on what list you're looking at.
I'm pretty sure this is for the this is for the manga.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not gonna say
matches.
because that would just tell everybody. I would just ruin the whole show.
Just don't spoil it completely. But if you were like me when I was 12 years old and lived on Wikipedia, when I realized that the homunculi were based off the 7 deadly sins, I was like, that's religion. And then I Googled it and I found out how the actual 7 deadly sins die. And then I compared it to the deaths in the 2003 series and in Brotherhood. And they almost all die exactly how they die in, like, history.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think Meliodas died. I'm pretty sure Escanor dies. R.I.P. Lionson of Pride. He's a realist. Pour one out for the homies. Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Who do you think would win in the fight? Scar or Scar from Lion King? Do you think the Ishvalan serial killer could take on an actual lion?
I don't know if it's a question of, like, can he take on Scar from the Lion King? I think it's more of a question of, like, would he?
No, I mean, Scar from this isn't evil. Scar from the Lion King, definitely evil.
Yeah. So I think, like, Scar from the Lion King would have to make the first move.
So I mean, Scar from the Lion King is basically a dictator. Yeah, I think Scar would try to kill him.
Scar from the Lion King is also based off of Hitler.
Well, yeah.
Parallels.
He's not as good at hiding it as King Bradley is.
No, he's not.
Like you think, oh, if you're King Bradley, wait a minute. He seems like a nice guy, but he's still the Fuhrer.
I think the thing that is, like, just so fascinating.
Dictators are bad, everybody.
Dictators are bad. Fuck them. But also, what's so great about Wrath in particular is that, like I said, you meet him so early in the series that you spend the rest of the series being like, oh my god, their ruler is a homunculus. What do I do? What do they do?
Yeah.
And, like, it takes forever to figure out, like, what the actual plan is. You just spend the rest of the series going, oh my god, oh no. What does it mean?
Scar. That's what it means. Scar, big hero in the series.
Listen, Scar is the GOAT, and that's why I was skeptical of the live action series, because the live action series doesn't have Scar.
Wait,
series.
what?
I said series. I'm sorry. I take that back. Just the live action movie.
What? How can you?
That's what I said.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's what I said. I was like,
The dog first and then Scar? Nope. Gotta make it. Come on, people.
But that's what I said.
Come on, Japan.
I
make a stage play with just about Scar and the dog.
I couldn't fathom, like, how that would work, because in my brain, Scar is the...
Ishval, the musical.
Scar is the catalyst antagonist. You think he's the bad guy that they're going to be following around all the time, and he ends up being the key to pretty much everything for them. And so I was like, I don't understand how you could possibly have a movie without Scar in it. But they did very well. To be real, it came out in 2017, and I watched it in 2017 and haven't watched it again since. That stayed with me.
Oh, right. So we talked about their dad and their mom a little bit. We probably talk about what happens to them both. We've talked about the dad being immortal, but he's also absent from their lives for a long time. Mm-hmm. But that's what drives them to alchemy. They're like, oh, dad does this, let's do it.
Yeah, so they grew up with their father and how and watched him do alchemy, but he left them when they were very young. And he left them because he wanted to find a way to die, because he wanted to be able to live out his life as a human with their mother. And
then, just like the real world now, a epidemic hits, but that's a little bit smaller than a pandemic.
Yes, yeah, a little bit smaller, and also it's one we know how to fix. I'm pretty sure it was tuberculosis, and yeah, their mother ends up dying.
Both the pandemic and that epidemic. Yes. Big problems are coughing. Don't cough at anybody.
Yes, don't do that. And when their mother...
I've had COVID. It wasn't fun.
My whole house had COVID, except me.
Oof. Lucky.
Lucky, but also I couldn't leave my room. But anyway, we're not talking about real world things. We're talking about...
You said real world parallels in your notes.
We're not talking about it.
We've already talked about the Fuhrer enough and Hitler.
I know. It's just so fresh, man.
It is fresh.
But yeah, so their mother dies, and that's what drives them to...
Trying to bring her back. By doing the one taboo, at least that they talk about in the series. Human transmutation. And it fails because you can't bring people back from the dead. And then the whole series leads to one important thing. The Fullmetal Alchemist gag.
Yes. That's the most important thing in the entire series that you need to know about. The gag.
Yep. Ed is short. Ed is short, everyone. And he is the Fullmetal Alchemist. But, and he's real impressive. He's really impressive because he doesn't need transmutation circles because of God. But everyone sees him and goes, oh, man, look, it's a Fullmetal Alchemist. And then they walk to Al. Who's just a big suit of armor.
His title is misleading. Bradley was messing with him. Bradley said, we're going to call you the Fullmetal Alchemist because you have 2 metal limbs, not knowing that his younger brother is a 7-foot suit of armor.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool nickname for a disabled character.
It is dope as hell.
Yeah.
Like, the Fullmetal Alchemist? That sounds so cool. Roy Mustang is the Flame Alchemist.
Yeah, he just got a bunch of gloves.
That's lame. Wait, no, the gloves are cool.
The gloves are cool, but he's just got a bunch of gloves.
The gloves are dope as hell. I deeply appreciate the glove method, as opposed to how, like, every other alchemist decided to, like, tattoo their transmutation circles on their hands. Kimberly. The gloves are awesome, and they also allow for not only a lot of, like, really comedic moments, like when he gets stuck in the rain and he can't ignite, but also for, like, really intense moments for when he's stuck in a fight.
He could have just tattooed it on his tongue and been like a dragon. Yeah, could have done it.
That could have been cool, but also I'm not sure if, like, I'm not sure that would be, like, physically safe. You know?
Maybe.
Like, I wonder if the flame that close to his face would be...
heartburn.
Yeah.
Indigestion, got it.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Oh no.
I pulled that from the archives. But
check your medicine labels, folks.
And, you know, his gloves getting destroyed in, like, battles or something. For most of the time, it's done for comedic effect. But there is that one particular fight that he's in that he has to carve his transmutation circle into his hand so that he can continue battling.
And that's against
Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
If you don't know, it's Lust. I love her. But yeah, the ways in which all of the alchemists kind of adapt to their alchemy and how they use it.
Yeah.
So dope.
On the topic of the homunculi and adapting, you know who didn't adapt real well? Hughes. He didn't adapt very well.
Who the heck?
I mean, I already told you what I want to do for the opener, which I still have to write, but come on.
We'll do it and I'll be sad, but it's fine.
I still gotta write that.
It's fine. But yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday, everybody. Touchdown.
But yeah, Hughes and the
makes you
real
real scared. It makes you real scared to make phone calls.
The true like stab in my heart. Like I know we all like Fullmetal Alchemist as a fandom, you know, is accused of having one joke. And I would just like to point out
several. It's got several. Shou Tucker. Nina Tucker.
Yes, I would just like to point out
the dog,
that
whose name I forget right now.
The Alexander
the dog, Alexander Tucker.
Like when your joke hurts that much, you really only need one. But then you have Hughes, who
he just wants to show you his kid.
I love him so much, which is redundant to say because I truly just love this entire cast.
He did. He did.
And
that happens, what, episode 5 in Brotherhood?
It happens very early.
Yeah, they don't draw that out. That happens what, episode 12 in the original? I know it happens a little later.
I don't really remember
Not too much later.
The breakdown, but it does happen a little later in the original series because they draw out, like, Lior for so long. And, you know, they do other things and then they introduce other characters and stuff. But, yeah, he dies relatively early in the series, and what's, like, real fucked about it is that they just don't tell Ed and Al.
Oh, no, he only debuts in episode 5 of the original series. So, yeah. It doesn't even...
Yeah, he doesn't even... He's not even alive for that long.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's just another one of many people that Ed and Al are like, we could not save this person. This person died because of this thing that we did wrong when we were young and that we've been trying to fix. And that becomes like a mantra for them. Like, first it was Nina and how they couldn't even use their science to save a little girl.
Edward, big brother Edward.
You come into my house.
You're welcome.
You come into my house and you hurt me.
That's what I'm here for.
Listen, it hurts, but it's also just prevalent throughout the whole series and how it's this driving force for Ed and Al because they were so sure when they tried to transmute their mother that science and alchemy could solve everything, and clearly it didn't for them at that point, and it continues to not solve anything for them. It just makes things harder and harder and harder to get through. And that all sort of culminates to the actual end of the series. And how Ed eventually does get Al's body back. I don't know if we wanted to keep that a little secret.
Yeah, we don't have to reveal the ending.
Yeah, you don't need to know, but...
I already told everybody that Al walks with a cane.
I mean, they have to know that eventually Al gets his body back. Otherwise, it's not satisfying.
I mean, Al gets his body back a little easier in the original, the 2003.
Yeah, I think about that a lot.
Like, he's not even atrophied at all in that one, is he?
No, I think
But he's also not, like, aged.
He also didn't
He's just
age.
young.
That's the thing. He was very young, still. And that's sort of I think the trade-off that they did, where, like, in this series, in Brotherhood, Al was aging, but it was, like, just his literal body was aging, because the idea was that it was kept in limbo.
Yeah. Also, Ed ages throughout the series, and you can notice that because he gets taller and his hair changes.
It's the way that Ed, in specific, you can see him growing up throughout the series, and like
he's an adult when he stops wearing the braid and he has the ponytail.
Yeah, and like you don't notice it because you're really invested in like the actual story and like the action and the adventure, and you don't notice it until Winry does.
Yeah, I can only think of one other series that actually does that, and that's as D. Grayman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Alan does get taller and he does have his hair grow out.
Yeah, it's just I love when shows do that. And he
also gets himself taken over by another person. But that's a different thing. That's a different story. That's another religious one.
That's another podcast for a different day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the actual visuals of the characters growing and changing endears you to them so much more.
And there's only one of them that makes you uncomfortable, and that's when Mustang gets a mustache.
Oh my god. I would like to point out that the mustache is not in the manga. They added that in the anime.
Why would you add that?
Because they hate me.
Just to show that there was a time jump? Yeah. You could just do that with like a slicked back haircut.
You can see it through Riza and how she cut her hair again. It's obvious. You could have more clearly shown his uniform and shown that he had more stars on his uniform.
Nope, mustache.
The mustache was not at the end of the manga, and that's where my heart lives. But, even beyond this show being such a great story and, like, just impeccable storytelling, to me, at least, it's just beautiful visuals, even for a show from over a decade ago.
Yeah, there was the 2003 and there was the 2009, everybody.
Yeah, and you can look at both the 2003...
We are way behind on coverage. We're way behind. Going on 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, right. So you said this is your first fandom. You talked about that. You want to talk about that a little more?
Really, it was just... So yeah, Fullmetal Alchemist was my first fandom. It was the first thing that I remember watching and reading and
then going down to the local Hot Topic.
Yes, actually, and just being wholly obsessed with it, in a way that like I didn't get to be with Pokemon, because I think Pokemon came so early for me that I didn't understand the concept of being obsessed with something. And, you turn 12 and suddenly you're obsessed with literally everything, and Fullmetal Alchemist was the first thing that I was like...
Also, because you couldn't ban Fullmetal Alchemist from the schools because they didn't have the trading cards.
I don't...
Actually, they probably do have trading cards, but, like, not like Pokemon.
Probably, but...
Remember, everybody, if the teacher takes away your Pokemon cards, you can always send them to the Shadow Realm with Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
That's true. Levels of fandom. But yeah, it's something, Fullmetal Alchemist is something that has always stayed with me. And it was also something that when I first saw it and when I first read it, it was at such a formative part of my life in, like, you know, that sweet spot where you're really kind of just forming your own personality around things. And this was the thing that my brain chose. If I were to root around in my brain, I think at least 40% capacity is dedicated to Fullmetal Alchemist. and you know, Fullmetal Alchemist as a story really shaped the way I approach stories in general and the way I approach a lot of the books that I publish for my day job. And it informs the ways in which I approached, like, morality when I was growing up and how I empathized more with people because of what I learned from Fullmetal Alchemist. And that's why it's always been something that's really important to me.
What she's really saying, everyone, is if you based your whole personality on the original trilogy of Star Wars, you can't just solve all your problems by throwing an old man down a shaft.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Thank you, Jake.
Yeah. For her, it's Fullmetal Alchemist. For me, it was Naruto. So I just talk to people and figure out the problem, and then they just kind of die.
And then you run everywhere.
Yeah, no, putting your arms back makes you run faster, everybody. It's a scientific fact. Actually, it's not. It's been scientifically proven to be even worse.
But it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it'll help you dodge the bullets at Area 51 when that happens again. Unless Boruto ruins it. I actually like Boruto.
I don't really have many opinions on Naruto in particular. At least not beyond, like, I don't know, the first 2 seasons.
Dan just finished part 1, everyone. Next time you hear him talk, just applaud him. You see it in his next tweet, applaud him. Be like, you did it, Dan.
Just a nice little golf clap.
You overcame your bias against anime, especially Naruto, and the words "believe it," and you know, just give him a pat on the back if you see him.
Okay, but
actually don't give him a pat on the
watch...
back because 6 feet away, people. 6 feet.
I do have to watch the sub specifically because I can't do the believe it. I can't deal with it.
It stops at episode 12.
Incredible.
Yeah, no. Once he realizes that he can't just say believe it and make people think, he's got to use his actions, he just stops saying it. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Cool. The more you know.
But eventually he just says you know because in the original manga he has a speech impediment.
Yes.
So does his mother and son.
Yes, I remember that. I remember the first time I ever read Naruto was actually through my Shonen Jump subscription. And that's how I got into manga, period. I don't know why I had a Shonen Jump subscription. Like, I don't know how that started. But it has informed a lot of my life choices. I would blame the fandom of Shishomaru. Wait, probably.
No. Is that Inuyasha's brother?
Sesshomaru, yes. Inuyasha fandom, don't come for me. I don't know.
It's all his fault and all Vash the Stampede's fault. All right, everybody. You guys can all find us at Gatecrashers Pod on Instagram or Twitter. And Amanda, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at AmandaIsA_Ram. And I think you could also find me on Instagram at the same handle. I never remember.
And you can find me at Blurb Machine on Twitter. I'm probably not going to say anything because why not? It's just me talking about how Godzilla is high art and dinosaurs.
But you're
All
not
right, everybody.
wrong.
Have a nice... I was going to say Super Bowl Sunday, but that's happening today. I don't remember when this episode's going out.
Have a nice whatever day this is.
Hopefully whoever you want to win the Super Bowl wins the Super Bowl. And hopefully it's not for Tom Brady.
Bye!
It's the Gate Crashers.